Yo, 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 happening? It's your boy Moss, man. Back in it. Trying to make this a more consistent thing. Y'all can hear from the best rapper, the best artist that you don't know of yet. Today I wanted to talk about a topic of understanding that nobody cares. And you might think, well, what do you mean by that, Moss? Of course people care. I have family, I have people that love me and they text me, and I have people on my Instagram and my TikTok and they give me hearts. People care. Nobody cares. Especially when you are a young man trying to become whatever it is you're trying to become. And that's what I've learned in my journey. Is most people don't care. And maybe when you're like little, you like playing sports or something and people will show up, usually your parents or like the people that are like closest to you, they'll show up, support you for a little while. But if it doesn't go anywhere further than where you're at, nobody cares. I can remember in my youth looking in the stands and wondering if the people that cared about me were there. And more often than not, they weren't there. I remember telling my grandpa when I was young, oh man, I'm trying to go to the NBA. That's why I'm working hard. That's why I practice. So I'm trying to go to the NBA. When you gonna come to my game Saturday? I got one at the La Quinta Boys and Girls Club. You gonna come and check me out? And he tailored my thoughts a little bit. Because what he told me was that here are the numbers of the people that are trying to make it to the NBA. Here's the amount of people that actually make it to the NBA. And below that, here's the amount of people that make it to college. Your goal should be to go to school and get a degree and get a good job. Tailored me. And me being in my youth, I couldn't even fathom what he was talking about. I heard it, but I didn't hear it. In my mind, there was nothing that you could say at that time that was changing where my mind had already fathomed where I was going. And so I played travel ball and I played for this PAL team. And not a lot of family members were able to show up and, be there to kind of support me along the way. And then I got to high school and I was fairly good, being that I was a little bit ahead of the curve. I had been playing against other competition for a while. And I came in my freshman year and my confidence was at an all-time high. And I was somewhat at my best during that time. And you look in the stands and there's nobody there. Why? Because, well, I'm playing junior varsity. I'm not on the varsity team, so nobody cares. Then sophomore year comes, I move, I'm at La Quinta, and I'm better than a lot of the guys that are there. There's a few guys that are there that are better than me, but most of the guys there I'm better than, and I should be on varsity. They didn't allow it. And I didn't have a lot of people there to kind of support me and go talk to the coaches like some of the other kids' dads did. Or during football season, they nicknamed me DHS. And they let me pick my number last. So I was number 99 even though I was a receiver corner. And I didn't have nobody there to go to bat for me because nobody cared. And why would they? I'm not as successful as it takes for somebody to want to be there to support you. And so what you learn is that looking back, I'm able to learn and see that the reason why the support wasn't there. And after my sophomore year of being really nice and being really good, I decided to move again because I was living with my grandpa at the time and I didn't feel like he supported me the way that I was looking to be supported. That was one of the reasons and one of the main reasons why I had left living with him. I was looking for people to be around me to support me like I seen other kids have, with their parents being there, having their back, being at every game, showing up, here's a Gatorade type thing. And then by the time my senior year came around, my confidence was a little shot. Because then I started to realize in the back of my mind that maybe it's not a possibility. Maybe I'm not as good as I thought that I was. At one point, I thought that I was a very good player. And somewhere along the road, I lost that fight because of things that were happening in life, I think, and unable to focus and not having the support that it took to have the perseverance through things. And so things didn't really work out when it came to sports for me. And there's other things that I could get into later. But as I look back, I realized that nobody cared because I wasn't somebody that gave them a reason to care. Meaning there wasn't spotlight that was on me. See, it's easy to care for somebody when there's spotlight on them because if you step in the light to congratulate them, well, then the light is on you as well, even if only for a moment. And so I started something that was in me as a kid, which was writing poetry in the beginning. Then later, my freshman year, I had a math class with my boy Chaz, and we'd sit in the back and get in trouble because we'd just be writing like bars to each other. And so we'd have a paper and he'd write a bar and then he'd give it to me and then I'd read it and be like, oh, that's crazy. And then I'd write a bar and then I'd send it over to him and we would just send bars back and forth. And that was kind of like the roots setting in. Like it started as like a little seed as a young man. And then the roots started to grow a little bit. It started to germinate. And then I forgot about it after doing all of the moving. And then I got home from living in Arizona. And when I was living in Arizona, I came across GarageBand Actually, like right before Arizona, I had moved to Arizona after senior year with my boy Aaron. And during maybe like around June, I was like at Aaron's house pretty much every day. I was staying the night. It kind of really was just grifting, really. And I was working at the movie theater and I was just trying to figure out what I was going to do. And he offered me a job to, be basically like an assistant for him while we were in Arizona, while he went to school in Arizona. And I was like, okay, perfect. It sounds like I don't know where I'm going. I'm going to go this way. And before we did that, I came across GarageBand and I made this like funny song on GarageBand. And then later when we got to Arizona, I really started messing around with it. And then we ended up coming back home. And me and my boy Chaz and we would like have nights where we would just get like hella blazed in Ant's car and the Navigator. And Chaz would bring his laptop out and we would just record while playing a beat and just make a song there. And then that was the roots really getting deep. And I'm just going in on some history of me just a little bit, but I'm getting to the point. And what the point that I'm getting to is that nobody cares, but let me continue on. So, I tried to make things happen in my life to find out or figure out would people care if I did it. And that was like the underlying thing. The main thing was me just trying to figure out something to do with my life because I really didn't have much direction. Besides the same old, which is you should go to school. You got good grades and go to school and get in there and get a job. But I always felt like there was something more that I had to give. Not just to life, but to myself. And fast forward, I'm making music constantly. And I started making mixtapes. And it really kind of started with a beat that my uncle had got. He had like got this beat, like CD from DJ Day, and he was like, "Yo, I bet you can't make a song to this," because I would be like making little funny songs, like just playing around. And I went in and I made a song, and the song was called "Let Me See Your Boogie," and I made it to the beat that he was like, "Nah, yeah, you can't make a real song to that," because I went messed around with it, and he was like, "Oh, that's cool, but you can't make a real song." And like a couple hours later, I came back with a real song, and it was a 7-minute song, to be exact. And his challenge was almost like a form of care for me. It was like, oh wow, I'm doing something that somebody cares, because I had got so used to nobody caring. I had become accustomed to the only people really caring about me as a man were my friend. And so I just started taking music seriously, and I just started doing it every day. And then I started sharing it and started posting it and letting people know, hey, I'm doing music, check it out. Here's my mixtape. And what I realized was that nobody cared. I mean, there was people that cared, but those are the people who are within slapping distance. Anybody beyond arm's length really didn't care. And I thought, well, I'll just have to get better, because that's what I thought with sports. Is, if I get better, then more people will care. But then I realized none of my coaches really cared, because they had already had an idea of what they wanted to do. And then nobody really cared when it came to the music, because, well, I'm nobody. And now, after doing music for over 10 years, having, I don't know, like 9 mixtapes, 10 albums, I realized that unless people are within slapping distance, nobody cares. Like, really. And I got a handful of people that actually care, but not to the extent that I would desire it to be, or what would be required to be in order for other people to want to pay attention as well. See, people only pay attention to the things that other people are paying attention to. And the thing that I wonder is, well, how did those people get those people to pay attention? How did you even get people to pay attention in the first place? And whether their stuff is good or not, like, there's some trash rappers out there, there's some trash artists out there's some people who are not very good at their job who have a following. Why? Because people care. And how do you get people to care when you didn't have anybody to care from the very beginning, when you've been kind of invisible your entire life? How do you get people to care then? And so no matter how hard I worked and everything that I put into, in the hours, minutes, seconds that I put into making myself into a better artist and one of the better artists, nobody cares that I'm good. Nobody cares that I've put a lot of money and time and effort into trying to share a gift that I have, because that's all it's been. It's been a gift. It's something that I've had my entire life. And why does nobody care? Nobody cares because I'm nobody. Because if I was somebody, where there was a light, there was a spotlight that was on me, it would be easier to care, because then a part of caring would mean that you're in the light. It's like watching like a football or basketball game, and then they pan over to the kid's family. That family gets a little bit of TV time just for caring for the kid who put in the actual work. But what do you do when nobody cares? How do you get people to care? And how do you get people to care when you have a sense of pride about yourself as well, where you're not quick to go with whatever the world is doing. You can just kind of stay the course on what you're doing. How do you get people to care then, when the people that should care about you, their care for you is it's a handful, and their care for you is the pipeline from you to them. It's hard to get the rest of the world to want to care when there's only a small amount of people that care. So how do you make yourself be bigger than what you are so people can care? So that way more people will care. And what I've realized is nobody cares unless you're successful. When you are a young man trying to become something or be something in this world, nobody cares until you're at the finish line or you're near the top or you're at the top. That's when everybody cares. Because when you're grinding and you're working 3 jobs and you work 7 days a week for pretty much going on a year now, nobody cares about that. All they care about is I haven't seen their kid, or I missed their birthday and I didn't say happy birthday to them, or I wasn't at this function or that function. That's what people care about. They care about themselves. And essentially, I care about myself too, but it's not in a selfish way. I mean, part of it is, I guess, but I wouldn't want people to care for me. I want them to care about the things that I create for other people. Because I don't need to create the music for me. I have these conversations with myself all the time. As a matter of fact, I spend more time with myself and by myself for the greater part of the past 7, 8 years than I have with other people. And when I am spending time with other people, it's because I'm at work. And then by the time I'm done with work, I don't want to talk to nobody. Because I'm exhausted of people. And realizing that everybody in this room doesn't really care about me. And if they do, then it's with words, but there's not a lot of action behind it. There's not a lot of emotion, energy, emotion behind it. And I'm not saying this out of anger or spite, just as somebody stepping outside of it, looking at it. And the reason why they don't care is because nobody else cares. Because they'll only care when you're successful, but the only way to be successful is to have people to care. So you end up in this paradox when you grow up the way that I grew up, where it ain't a lot of people around that really care. No daddy, mom kind of distant. Your friends' parents become your surrogate parents. There's no actual care. It's just, there's some love, not care. And this is what it means to be a young man in the world. Nobody's going to care until you make something of yourself. And so at some point, you have to become selfish. At some point, you have to care about you more than you care about anybody else. And maybe that's how you'll get other people to care. And I think a part of me is that's kind of all I ever wanted. And it's not, I just wanted people to care. So that way I could give. Because that's all I want to do is give. I don't really care about receiving anything but care. You don't have to give me gifts. You don't have to tell me happy birthday. You don't have to, none of that stuff really matters to me. What matters to me, do you care? And when you're on this journey, nobody's going to care until you're at the top. And so I'm in that place in life where I've been putting in so much time and effort into something to make it be great. And I feel like at this point in this juncture in my life, I am better at music than I've ever been at anything else in my life. And still not that many people care. At least not as much as I think should care. And I know everybody got their own life, but we only care about the things that other people care about. So we only listen to the artists that other people listen to, because those are the people that's put in front of us. And somehow caring about them puts a little bit of spotlight on ourselves. So in this journey that I'm doing, I hope to get people to care more about what it is that I'm trying to do. And the end goal would be to create a community of people that all care for each other. And that's why I started the 3%ers. Because 90% of people are unaware, 7% of people do not care, and then the rest is us. And we can create the community that uplifts each other. I don't want to be the only person uplifted. I want to uplift somebody else. I want to see other people win. And the only way to do that is for me to win. And how do I win? You know, I'm too suave and too chill and too laid back to be square and do the things that everybody else does. So how do I do it in a cool way where people want to pay attention? I've never been the cool kid. I was too busy trying to figure out where I was gonna lay my head or where I was gonna eat. And I moved so much, I was never able to really build relationships with people to be able to foster a good community of people that could care. And then all the people that do care, they got their own lives going on. I ain't really tripping off no music like that or my goals like that. Every dollar that I make goes to keeping the place that I stay and trying to obtain my goal. And I don't have anybody to go, here, let me help you out. Here's this to make it easier on you. It's just me. And for the most part, since the age of about 14, it's been just me. I've gotten love along the way, and that's not to negate the love that I've received. But making something of myself, just like making something for yourself, is always going to be on you, especially when you're a young man. Nobody's going to come save you. Nobody's going to have your back when things aren't going well. You have to make something of yourself. And so I want to make something of myself to show the other kids that grew up the way that I grew up that it is possible. And yes, you'll be tired, and yes, you'll be worn out. But hopefully the reward is much greater. I mean, our time here is limited, and so what you do with it, you have to make it worthwhile. And I always wanted to do something that would last. That would be more than just working a job, making money, getting a family, paying for my family, and then watch my kids grow up and then die. I wanted to make something that would last. So when I'm not here in this game, there's something that's left over that can be used for the other people that are still here in the game. And that's why I make the music that I make. And that's why I can't talk about dumb shit. That's why I have to make conscious music that you can get ratchet to. You know, it has to be a little bit of ignorance or stupidity in it, either or at times. But the goal is the overall message. And so that's what I want my life to be a testament of, is the overall message, just like my music. And maybe if I just be myself more and put myself out there more, maybe more people will know. But I feel like I've been doing it for so long, and I always thought along the way people would see what I was doing and working towards and want to join. Like whoever started building the pyramid, like nobody was just building the pyramid and then like nobody didn't want to help. Like somebody saw some future in that and they were like, "Oh, I see what you're trying to do there. Let me do my part in that." Like any business, like anything in life, when you're trying to build something, people come along and go, "I see what you're trying to do. Here's my investment in that. Time, money, effort, emotion, whatever. It's care." And sometimes you get tired of people not caring. And as much as you want to care for other people, that's speaking for myself, as much as I want to care for other people, I have to take that care and use it on myself because well, not a lot of people are using their care on me. And I don't got mommy and daddy to lean on or call on or ask to hold me on days when shit ain't going so well. On top of that, we live in a world where, you know, the women hate the men and they think we're so bad. I had a girl tell me at work, and yes, I do work. I know your favorite artist will never tell you that they work a job, but yeah, I work. 3 of them to be exact. She told me that there's toxic masculinity. And I said, well, explain what the toxic masculinity is. And she said, well, I don't really can't explain it. I'll just give you a scenario. I was watching this guy and he was talking about doing something. And then his friend came out and started showing his money. And then he pressed up on his friend, like, what's up, bro? You want to go? Why you trying to show me out? And she was like, that's like the insecurity of the masculine. And I said, oh, you mean being a boy? Like it's inherently bad to be a boy. You know, you're not allowed to be a boy. You have to go straight from child to man. Meanwhile, you know, we give every opportunity that we possibly can to ignite the feminine while bashing the masculine, not knowing the story of having to become. And so I'm thankful for my friends who've always had my back as far as, you know, giving me inspiration and caring for me as a person. But I always felt like I wish that more people cared. Like I put on a listening show for my 10th album back home. And I tried to invite as many people as I could, especially the people that were on my social media. And I gave people a month in advance to take time off to do it. And the same old faces show up, and not to negate when I say same old faces, but it's the people that have cared about me as a person who were there. But a lot of other people who say that they care for me as a person weren't there. And so, good 25 to 30 people showed up, mainly most of them being my surrogate family members and my friends who've always supported me. But I haven't been able to get the outsiders to want to care or support. Why? Because I'm a nobody. And that's why I live alone in a 2-bedroom apartment with my 2 cats now. Because I've pretty much been a nobody. And I'm still a nobody no matter how good I am. And people don't care about how good you are. They want to know if you're somebody. And if you're somebody, they want to be associated with you. And if you're a nobody, nobody cares to be associated with you. And I know that I chose this journey before I was born. I knew that I would have to go through these trials and tribulations of becoming a man. And this was the route that I needed to become the best version of myself. And in the midst of it, I deal with the human feeling, which is nobody cares. Nobody's donating their time or effort to help me achieve what it is that I'm trying to achieve. Even if they got nothing going on. Because they'll want to do it once I'm a somebody. And I'm tired of being a nobody. I think that I have more to offer to the world than being an invisible nobody or the guy who works at his job that everybody thinks is a little different, a little awkward, a little weird. The guy that is nice to everybody and gives compliments to everybody, but he's also unfiltered. And I try not to look too far forward or backwards. I try to focus on being more in the moment. But there are times when I say to myself, will it work out? And then determination sits in of, well, I have to make it work out. Because I have something important to give to the world. And it's everything that I've learned. Based upon everything that I've gone through. And so I say all of this to say that if there's something you want to achieve in life and you're a young man who doesn't really have much of a community, you just got to keep going. And even when you feel like you've given up so much time and effort in doing that, when you could have easily taken the easy route, you just got to keep going. And for me, I'm already a success. I come from nothing. You know, people who grow up the way that I grew up are either in jail, dead, on drugs, or somebody's baby daddy with no education. So I'm already a success. But I have more to give to the world, at least for those that want to know. And that's why I would hope to build a community of what I see in my mind being the 3%ers. We're the people that care for each other. We create the community that we never had. And that's why I haven't been able to play the game the way that people who love me and care for me would maybe like to see. Because I haven't cared to play that. You know, like I'm swinging for the fences with everything because I have nothing to lose. I really have nothing to lose. It's just me. Every day, every night. I don't have no cliques. And my cliques that I do have are back home and they got their own worlds going on. So it's literally just me. I pay for my studio time. I pay for the camera. I set everything up in here. I pay for everything in here with just pure will. In hopes to inspire somebody else to do some dope things. And hopefully I can do something really dope, which is change the whole dynamics of the tree that I come from. Basically be the fruit that fell off, created a seed and created a whole new tree that actually produces fruit where everybody cares for each other. And you don't have to be on the TV in front of everybody in order for us to care for you. You want to be the best chef? We're going to do everything we can to help you be the best chef. You want to clean concrete? We're going to do everything we can to help you clean concrete. We'll do everything in our power as a team, as a community to help support each one in the community. And that's how you build a community. And that's what we're missing in the world is actual community beyond just your relatives. Your community is your family. Your family is not your relatives. Can't do anything about the people you related to, but your family, you can definitely do something about that. You can choose who's your family. And maybe those people can care for me the way that I've always wanted to be cared for. Because in being cared for, it allows me to be the man that I want to be, which is the person that cares for everybody else. I don't need anything. I don't need clothes, shoes, jewelry, women. I got everything that I pretty much want. But the thing that I need is more than that. I need to be able to be a giver. I need to be able to share my love and my wisdom. That's what I need. And if those things that I said are a result of that, well, then so be it. But I've been doing this a long time to not really have any recognition and not the type of support that I think that I should have. I've actually had more people in competition and hate on me than I've had people be like, damn, everything that that kid's been through, he deserves some support. Oh, and by the way, it's actually pretty fucking good. It doesn't sound like everything else that's out. He not talking about killing or gang banging or throwing money up. He actually has a message. Everything that I've ever done, I've done it with. You could feel the heart in it. When I played basketball, being a point guard, like I was a facilitator first. Playing football, you know, like I was a team first guy. I'll do whatever the team needs me to do. And all I wanted was somebody to care. So just know that nobody cares. You'll have to make them care. All right. Working as hard as you can to be a somebody. And if you shoot for the stars, the worst case scenario is you land back on Earth and you were going to be there anyway. But the best case scenario is you become a star. And the possibility is that if you don't become a star, then you at least land on the moon. But aim high. You got one of these on this level. I mean, I don't think this is your only life, but you got one on this level. So have fun with it and do whatever it is that you want to do with it. And if it works out, great. And if it doesn't work out at the end of the day, you can just work a job. So sometimes it's just things that I need to get off my chest. And I think that that's what I would like Noxious Masculinity to be for now, until I maybe change the name to something else. But that's all I kind of wanted to talk about. Just knowing that nobody really cares. The women that I talk to, they like me, but at the end of the day, if I don't do nothing with my life, they're not going to care. If I'm not able to take care of the people that cared for me when I needed a place to stay, then they're not going to care. If I can't be of service to the world, nobody's going to care. So I have to make myself be of service in some kind of way. And very cliche, I've tried it all the ways that most ninjas do, which is play sports or rap. Because what else do you got to swing for the fences? Oh, yeah. Like, even my siblings and nobody, I don't even see people really out here just like trying to share my stuff. The people that share my stuff are the most are like homies. And those are the people that I give the most love to. Because I want to love the people that love me even when I'm nothing. So the day that I am something, I'll know the people that was really there loving. Well, that concludes episode 10. Remember, nobody cares. You gotta make them care. This is not a sad thing. This is a motivational thing. To feed the lion that's within you. To feed that anger that's within you, to push you forward. To do exactly what you set out to do. To be exactly who you set out to be. And in the end, you can be proud of what you've become. Because you know that you gave it your all to become that. And when it works out, because it will, you can stand on that. So in the midst of nobody caring, you care. Make them care. Mossman out.